Hello, my friends. Perlo Wisdom here. And I'm going to be talking about whether the Montreal Canadiens will make the playoffs next year, 2025-26, or not. Right now, in capping, as we like to call it, if you go to FanDuel, I think it's around minus 150 for them to miss the playoffs. They're actually plus money to make the playoffs. And you'd ask yourself, why? Well, why would that be? They made the playoffs last year. They got better, didn't they? They got Dobson. Demidov should be getting a full season. So why would the books have them as um, favorites to miss the playoffs? Well, here's the thing. First of all, I want to say that St. Louis should have definitely got Coach of the Year last year. And the reason why I say that is this. They're a one-line team, or they were last year anyways. Suzuki, uh, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky were basically their only real successful line throughout the year. They didn't have Kirby Doc last year, so they're playing guys like Alex Newhook. Patrick Laine is terrible. They are going to get Demidov, and that's going to be a big factor here, huge, because that kid is going to be amazing. It's just a question of how fast he's going to be amazing. Is he going to do it as a 19-year-old or not? And all of that. And I'll get into more of that as we go on here. But Caulfield and Slavkovsky, although they're very good offensively, are absolutely wretched defensively, especially Caulfield. He's terrible. Beautiful shot, could put up points. His offense does make up for his defensive liability, but that's something that's got to change on this team because there's too many guys like that. Patrick Laine, I already talked about it. He's terrible. Alex Newhook isn't good. Evan and Gallagher are not bad, but they're pretty average. And the new player they picked up by Zach Bulldog, down the road, or even now, he's not too bad. But as he grows into his game, he looks like a guy that more guys like him, they're going to need to be looking for. Very good three-zone defensive player. Now, I think part of the reason here could be because St. Louis didn't really focus on defense last year. Um, he really wanted this team to make the playoffs and give them confidence. Now, you say, well, wait, what about the defensemen? In the game today, as you see with the Florida Panthers, there's a is forwards playing three zone. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Three zone defensive awareness. That means yes, you got to use your offense. Yes, you use your skills, but you use them in a way with defense in mind. Everything you do. So when you're in the offensive zone, you go towards offense, or you take risks that make sense, that allow you the time to get back to where you are, to where you need to be in the neutral zone for a pass from the defensive zone or back into the zone into your spot, and hopefully being able to help out your defenseman. To see players that go, like somebody like Josh Anderson gets this reputation that he's good defensively. He's not. He overcommits in the offensive zone and leaves himself stranded. And yes, does he skate back as fast as he can? Absolutely, he does. No doubt about that. But it's not enough to do that. And you're wasting a lot of energy, to tell you the honest truth. That's why he doesn't play a lot of minutes. Now, again, this isn't necessarily Josh Anderson's fault. A lot of coaches have a physical guy like that. They want you to go in and be physical and play that type of style. It happens. That could very well be part of it. But the fact of the matter is, the way he plays does not bode well, and you can't have too many players like that. Brendan Gallagher and Jake Evans, they're good, but at this stage, honestly, they're not elite third line players either. Especially Gallagher's not, and Evans aren't. They are probably average to a below average third line center. So you still got a very top heavy offensive lineup. Deminoff can change things, no doubt about that. From what I hear, he's like Datsuk. He can bring a new wrinkle to this team, and hopefully he can be a leader in that area. And a lot of these guys can turn their terrible to hey, you know what, Demidov, let's watch him and I can get better at this. Caulfield will never probably be great. Slavkovsky could possibly get below average at least. Those things are important, especially when you're playing in the playoffs. But Zach Bulldog looks like he's going to be good. The defense, Matheson's playing too high. He's not a number one defenseman at all. He's not good on the PK. It's not that great on the power play. He should be a 2D, probably getting about 14 minutes. Good thing is they did get Noah Dobson, and don't listen to Islanders fans. Noah Dobson is very good defensively and offensively. At 25, you did very, very well getting him. Noah Dobson is a good example of what a defenseman looks like on a bad team. He played very high up. He played number one roll up on the lineup. He had the puck on his stick most of the time, and they had a lot of players on the island that were positionally poor in the neutral zone, especially for outlet passes and all that stuff like that. And this kid's got to monitor all that. Plus, it was a tough year, but his underlying stats are fantastic. Might have some of those issues in Montreal, but at least they got guys that can play, can drive play offensively, like Demidov, Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky can all drive play offensively. This is the reason why I think St. Louis wasn't worried about defense so much, because his goal was to try to just play as much as you can in the offensive zone and give these kids confidence. Caden Gooley's fantastic. He's going to be maybe even elite defenseman. Lane Hudson, he looks like an Eric Carlson, to tell you the honest truth. His offense will always outdo his defense by a long, long, long shot, but it's so good that it kind of doesn't matter. He's net positive, no doubt about that. Play with a guy like Caden Gooley, you can help him a lot. Like I said, Dobson's great. Carrier was a great pickup. Only 27 years old, very underrated, three-zone defenseman, fantastic pickup by them. And then Arbor Jaka, he's just there to beat people up and stuff. He's not all that great, but he'll be replaced down the road here. So question is, do I think they're going to make the playoffs? I'm leaning no, and I'll tell you why. Last year, St. Louis took a lot of teams by surprise in the regular season. Especially after the Four Nations All-Star break. What he did is he prepared these guys. He said, look, we can make it. These guys are coming off their breaks. They're not going to be completely focused, a lot of them. You're going to be playing against a lot of teams that are already in the playoffs and aren't really up for the games. If you outwork them, you'll win. He may not have said that in those words, but that's exactly what happened. And not only that, especially when you played the West, players generally don't follow. They hear, okay, Montreal is playing really well right now, but the fact was they were a bottom team the year before, and that's what sticks in players' minds. They generally don't know what the rest of the league is doing, especially some not in their conference or division. So when they come in off a break and they go, oh, we got Montreal, okay, and maybe they have a couple drinks more than they would normally do. Maybe they, were a little hungover for the game, or, all kinds of stuff like that. It's just Montreal. We'll be fine. We had a good time. We had a good team building, and they're just relaxed, even. Just relaxed. Where St. Louis had these guys piped right from the beginning. Now, this year, first of all, you're not going to have as many of those breaks. Second of all, teams are going to know the Montreal Canadiens are for real. They were a playoff team there last year. So now you're not surprising teams. You're not going to go in and people are going to be like, oh, we're just playing Montreal. Now it's going to be, oh, this Montreal team made the playoffs last year, especially if that team didn't make the playoffs last year. They're going to be more up for these games. They're going to be paying more attention. It's going to be tougher. So that Demidov kid might be so good that he drags his team in, but it's asking a lot for a 19-year-old. And, St. Louis is a brilliant coach, so he might have more strings he can pull and all those good and things like that, and I'm wrong. So I'm probably not going to bet it because I don't like it at minus 150. But right now, I'm leaning Montreal to miss the playoffs. All right, that's my full 42. Have a great day, everybody. You can find me at the Ice Guys during the regular season. You can also find me at Perlo's NHL POW. I post all my picks, my futures, and everything there, plus all my takes on what's going on in the NHL and all that. And I do live not FaceTime. It's called Spaces on Twitter, where you can just come on. You won't see me or anything. It's all audio. And me and a bunch of my buddies talk hockey. If you like that kind of thing, head over there. Love to have you. You can even come on and talk to us if you want, anytime you want. Take care, everybody. Okay.